My sister-in-law is planning a wedding at my house and I'm not invited, but on her wedding day, the princess is surprised to find I've changed the lock and there will be no wedding. I'm 34 years old, and I've been following this subreddit for a long time. Recently, I encountered a situation in my life that I need an opinion on. I've read many posts about sisters-in-law to see if anyone else has gone through something similar, but it seems my situation is unique. That's why I'm seeking advice here. The issue involves my sister-in-law, which is why I can't discuss it with my husband. Family complexities, you know. My sister-in-law, who is 27 years old, is planning a wedding for the spring, and she wants to hold it at my house. Yes, that's right, at my house. To give you some context, I have a 4-bedroom house with a pool and a big garden. She's engaged to an Irish guy, so her family and relatives will need a place to stay when they come for the wedding. Given our spacious living room and big yard, she plans to have an outdoor wedding in the garden, followed by dinner inside. That's how she envisions it. Now, the obvious question is, do I agree with this? Honestly, I don't know, and that's why I'm here looking for advice. Let me give you some background. I've been married to my husband for 8 years. We met in college and dated for 4 or 5 years before getting married. He doesn't come from a wealthy family, but he's a hard-working, self-made man. My father-in-law worked as a day laborer, and my mother-in-law took on occasional jobs. My husband has a younger sister who still lives with my in-laws. Despite being 27 years old, she doesn't work. Not only do they provide her with food and shelter, but they also cater to her extravagant demands beyond their means, I might add. Unlike my husband, who completed his master's degree, my sister-in-law dropped out of college. Her parents didn't insist that she finish because, according to them, she doesn't need to be told anything. She's inspired by a new age influencer who claims that a degree doesn't make you rich or successful. I find it strange because I was raised very differently. Although my parents are quite wealthy, they never gave us special privileges. Yes, we attended a private school, call it a luxury if you want, but beyond that, my parents didn't do much for our careers. When my brother and I were in high school, our dad told us to earn scholarships or take out student loans, because he wasn't going to pay for our college education. We used to hate it and thought our dad was stingy, but we studied hard and got scholarships. Now that I'm older, I see the wisdom in their approach. It made us self-sufficient, and seeing my sister-in-law now only reinforces the importance of that upbringing. When I got my first job right after college, I went a bit wild with partying and vacationing. However, my dad sat me down and showed me some good properties. I thought he was finally loosening up and spending some money, but that wasn't the case. He wanted me to buy the house myself. He paid the down payment and explained the importance of owning a house as soon as possible. He even advised me to rent out part of it to help with the mortgage. I'm grateful now because I own this house, and considering the current housing market, I probably wouldn't have been able to get such a spacious property at this price if I hadn't bought it when I did. As for my relationship with my in-laws, it's been more or less acceptable. We don't see each other that often since they live on the other side of town, and I lead a very busy life. I maintain a decent bond with my mother-in-law. We talk once a week, but with my sister-in-law, I just can't connect with her. We're polar opposites. She doesn't like me because, during our initial interactions, I tried to convince her to finish her education and get a job. She thinks I'm jealous of her because her parents take care of her while mine abandoned me to live on my own. The worst part is that my in-laws constantly complain about financial difficulties, yet they continue to support their 27-year-old daughter. My husband and I even offered to help her get an office job, but neither she nor my in-laws showed any interest. Now, there are a couple of reasons why my sister-in-law wants to get married at my house. One, of course, is the space. She could have the wedding, lunch, and dinner all in one place, and her guests could stay without needing to book a hotel. Another reason is that she can't afford to rent a venue, and if it's not at my house, she'll have to settle for a courthouse wedding. She doesn't make any money, and my in-laws don't have the means to splurge on her wedding. My husband doesn't want to give an opinion on the matter because, as he says, it's my house. He wants me to make the decision regardless of what he thinks. That's one of the reasons I love him so much. So, my dilemma boils down to this: should I allow her to use my house as the venue for her wedding? The wedding is the day after tomorrow, and today I found out I'm not invited. The ironic part? The wedding is at my house. Let me start from where I left off last time. Yes, I agreed to let my sister-in-law use my house for her wedding. I was definitely worried about it, but eventually, I agreed. Now, I regret that decision, and I'm furious. Please excuse me if this sounds like venting. My sister-in-law is nothing but a woman who uses men for money in exchange for, well, you know. She isn't even that pretty, and don't get me started on her lack of intelligence. But, once the lights go out, most men don't care about all that. She might be good at what she offers, which is why she was able to hit the nail on the head. That's what she calls her fiancé, the nail. Not only is she superficial, but she's also a liar. I recently found out that her Irish fiancé is quite well off. He works as a banker, and his family is wealthy too. To impress them, she lied and told them that my house was theirs. I knew about this lie for a while, but I didn't care because, at the end of the day, it didn't affect me. When her fiancé proposed, she came to me and almost begged me to let her use my house for the wedding. As if that wasn't enough, my in-laws also came begging. They said that if I didn't agree, they might have to take out a loan to finance the wedding. I asked them why her fiancé couldn't finance it, and they said that traditionally, the bride's parents pay for the wedding and the Irish follow this tradition more strictly than we do. I don't know how true that is, so please don't judge me for it. Those aren't my words. Plus, my sister-in-law had already bragged to her fiancé and his family about the big house that could host the wedding. Her stupidity made me laugh. I asked, what if I don't allow the wedding at my house? I mean, I can do that, right? Don't you think she should have asked me first before committing to this with her fiancé? My in-laws nodded and asked me to safeguard their reputation. I told them I would, but that they should have done a better job raising their daughter. You see, I don't sugarcoat my words, and maybe that's why they think I'm arrogant. They don't understand that I say this for their own good. You know what happened next. They came to my house and didn't leave until I agreed. At one point, I thought, it's just a matter of 2 days. Let's get this over with. And yes, some people asked in the last post if she offered to pay rent. No, she didn't. All of this happened 3 months ago when I made the original post. Fast forward to 2 days ago. My sister-in-law arrived with my in-laws and 2 other men. I was at work and saw this on the cameras I have installed inside. They have motion sensors. I called her and asked what was going on. She said those guys were wedding planners here for a site visit to plan the wedding. I asked her to be careful with my things, and she assured me she would. After paying off my mortgage last year, I got rid of the tenants who occupied my 2 upstairs rooms. I took leave from work to prepare those rooms for my in-laws. I even hired a cleaner because it's a huge house, and I couldn't clean it all by myself. Today, my sister-in-law showed up at 6 o'clock in the morning while we were still sleeping. She was leaving for her bachelorette party in the next town and wanted to see if everything was properly prepared. She was happy to see that I had prepared 2 rooms for them and rented a larger dining table for tonight's dinner. Then she walked around the house, saying, "Okay, those 2 rooms are ready for my in-laws. Mom and Dad will take your room, and I'll take the room with the walk-in closet." Wow! I'm so excited to show them my big house with all these fancy things. I can't wait to see their amazed expressions. When she said this, I was confused. I asked her, "I'm sorry, but where do we fit in this arrangement?" She answered, "Well, I don't know. You can go to your parents' house or maybe check into a hotel for 2 days." You both earn well, so I'm sure you can afford it, I responded, but why do we have to move out of our own house? With a mocking tone, she said, because to them, it's my parents' house, remember? And you can't live here. It would be very weird for a married brother and his wife to live with my parents. I felt dizzy after that conversation. So you're going to make it look like this is your parents' house and that you live here like a princess? I was already pretty angry, so I put on a serious face and asked, so according to your fairy tale, where do we live if your in-laws ask? Oh, they won't. I mean, how would they? You won't be here, right? And what about our stuff, our pictures? Who would know they are your things? I'll tell them everything is mine. The only problem is the photos in your hallway. We'll have to take them down before they arrive. I sighed and asked, so even if we vacate the house to uphold your facade, we'd still see them at your wedding, right? You can't live here. It would be very weird for a married brother and his wife to live with my parents. I felt dizzy after hearing that. What the hell? So, you're going to make it look like this is your parents' house and you live here like a princess? I was already pretty angry, so I put on a serious face and asked, so, according to your fairy tale, where do we live in case your in-laws ask us? Oh, they won't. I mean, how would they? You won't be here, right? And what about our stuff, our pictures? Who would know they are your things? I'll tell them everything is mine. The only problem is the photos in your hallway. We'll have to take them down before they arrive. I sighed and asked, so even if we vacate the house to uphold your facade, we'd still see them at your wedding, right? What if they ask us then? I asked this sarcastically, but her response left me stunned. Thank you very much for watching to the story so far. I suggest you to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss tomorrow's stories.